All right, what's up, everybody? Gonna do a quick sound check here, see if you guys can hear us okay. Everything level wise looks good on my end. You want to say something real quick, man? Make sure they can hear you.
Hello.
Cool, cool, cool.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some more people kind of popping in as time goes on. But thanks for checking out the stream today, man. I'm excited for this one. So this is like a newer thing where I'm trying to bring on people like every week. I'm not making any promises, but it'd be cool. So if there's someone you guys want to see, like hit me up, let me know, tag them, tell them to come on. But I've been
Nah, I'm
following,
so.
right, right. I've been following Xavier actually for a while, dude. Like I saw your stuff. I first saw you on the internet through your buddy Tom Lawrence. He's got his own, he's an MSP owner and he's got his own YouTube channel. Because I used to work in the MSP space. I did that for about 4 years, and so
Oh,
yeah. So I was watching. I was like an IT manager in the MSP space. I was going on YouTube looking up MSP stuff, and came across his channel. And then you were doing some stuff with him, and like the how they got hacked was like a little show that you guys had going on. Um, so yeah, that's like I was like, man, I want to be Xavier one day. That's honestly what I thought. And seeing, seeing,
no.
seeing all the content and stuff, like Tom was part of my influence. Like he didn't like tell me like make a YouTube channel, but when I saw how much success he was having, I was like, man, I want to do that one day. So it's
Yeah.
cool. This is
No.
like it's
Tom literally told me to start a YouTube channel. So thank you, Tom. He came to me with the idea to create content over and over and over again. I mean, maybe for 2 years
wow.
before I was just like, okay, sure. He's like, man, Xavier, I'm telling you, just like come make some content with me. Like, just come do some stuff with me. I'm like, I really don't want to be on cameras, Tom. You don't understand, like the kind of stuff that I do. Like, this is before video based like hacking content. Like, this is 16, 17, 18. Like it was different.
Yeah.
You didn't really want to be on YouTube showing people, what to do or how to do it. Right. But when I talked to Tom and he was like, no, what we could do is we could just report on, the news and kind of the scene and the culture around it. I was like, okay, now I'm nervous to get on camera. Like
Yeah.
that's the next thing. Like, how do I get over that part? But just seeing how fast it grew and how well received it was pretty impressive. I still have this itch to make it something bigger than what it is presently, and Tom's more just like comfortable with like just going as is. The amount of love that I get from it, I'm almost just like, fuck, maybe I should just keep going like and just do news.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to do like Jack Resider style stuff, like deep dive into a topic.
Well, bro, you could do both. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing. It's well, assuming you've got time. I was gonna say there's nothing stopping you from unlimited content creation. Uh, but no, I can understand. This stuff is way more time consuming than I think it looks. Davin's here in the chat. I think he'd agree. Like I can't imagine
Oh,
how
yo,
many
what's
hours
happening,
a week
Devin?
that he spends on his stuff that he's got going on. Do you have more content in the works? Are we going to be seeing more stuff from you? You think?
Yeah, so I started teaching at university in June of this year, which really started to, in the Corona time, everything being remote, started to really take some of my bandwidth away. That, along with, I did a private course for an institute, and I helped organize the car hacking village. So
Nice.
those things kind of just sucked up a lot of my summer, and that kind of threw me out of my groove of content creation, as they say.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know. I think that I want my content to be meaningful. I want people to like walk away with something from it
for sure.
because right now I'm such in a sales mode that I'm afraid to sell to my people. Like I'm afraid that I'm going to get on there and just start talking about what I got going on and why they should be doing one thing when in reality like that hasn't been the case till date.
Sure.
So I have to figure out like how do I get out of sales mode and into like any other mode, like to be able to create a piece of content that isn't just like lead generation or because like so let's just take Tom for example because we both know him.
Sure.
He makes content that is aimed at his business. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, his industry and things that people may need from him, but the types of people that he services can actually pick up the phone and call him while he's showing them something technical, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like if I show you how to use CrapMap exec and how to drop covenant grunts all over a network and how to do vertical privilege escalation and, persist and all of this and stay covert and exfil data and all of this stuff, I'm going to be showing infinite logins that, right?
Right.
That's going to be like something that's not necessarily lead generating, but it's going to be something that infinite logins the hacker is
Yeah.
going to see from. So I need to make more content like that and kind of get my mind wrapped around like what does that end up really looking like for me.
That's an awesome point, man. Because when I started my YouTube channel, it was kind of more of like I want to help raise security awareness. So I was showing like the attacker perspective of like what it looks like to create a phishing website and what it looks like when a victim falls for phishing and showing the credentials being captured and how they can see that in plain text. And so I was trying to demystify hacking for the average business professional. It wasn't my target audience wasn't people like you or hackers looking to get in the field. And then I felt like this is a really cool thing and it could be used to create, like as a marketing thing, like custom content to try to either sell it to businesses for security awareness programs they could use for their companies, or even as like a way to help get a pen tester to close a deal, right? Because if they can show just how easy these hacks happen or whatever, they might be able to use that as a sales tactic. So that was kind of like where I started, and then it transitioned into like helping people get into the field, just because I wanted to show how to hack stuff, man. Like, because that's the cool thing. But
Right.
business professionals don't care necessarily about like you get on a command line and they check out. You know, so it is interesting, like that fine line between of who your target audience is, and if you create something super technical and super hacky, how are you going to turn that into a lead generator for you?
Right. And kind of the delicate balance of lead generation and creating a piece of content that's useful.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe I'm open, and probably people will look at this and be like, Xavier, just put out the content. I do. I put out pieces of content that maybe people don't realize. Like I have live webinars. I do shows like this. I'll be featured on a channel like this. Um, yeah, I
so,
write blogs.
so
I post on social media like a lot.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of content just by way of the social media. So it may not just be video based content on YouTube, but if you follow the atmosphere, every single day I have 5 to 6 pieces of content that come out that's non business related, and then like maybe another 4 or 5 that are business related. So it's I don't know, it's hard to manage because a lot of the times I'm like writing a report, statement of work, or actually doing the stuff. So it's just like my brain is I don't know all over the place sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and we didn't really talk about, like, we didn't give you an introduction or nothing, bro. So tell me, who are you? What do you do? You got a lot of stuff going on, so feel free, man, and don't worry about being sales pitchy or whatever. That's what we're here for.
My name is Xavier D. Johnson. I am a community leader, hacker, uh, privacy advocate, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. Um, yeah, I am black and I love technology. Like these are like tech is me. I've been in technology. I've been doing technology since a very long time. I had my first computer. Like some of my earliest memories are on computers. How about that? Like green screens, like black letters, kind of thing. Like way, way back, early '90s kind of stuff, right? That and Burger King commercials. Yeah, I don't know. um, but yeah, so I always grew up with the computer around. My one of my uncles was big into IT, and so always had a computer in the house, be it Linux based or I had Macs, a lot of Macs growing up, and plenty PCs, Windows PCs. And so from there, when I was 12, I learned how to program. I started making video games in a language called Basic, and in Basic, um, It was a procedural language. It was very, very rigid. The things that I was learning were very specific, but it allowed me to be able to kind of understand like logic and how to get it out into a piece of code, and kind of the flow of creating a piece of software and how it's iterative and like step by step. And so over maybe a year or two, taking it from like building video games to buying another book that taught me C sharp and learning about .NET. And this is in like 2004. Like, I don't know. Like,
Nice.
this is pretty early for me for programming, right? I was born in '91, so um,
You're doing
and
that at a young age, man.
yeah, right. So like I just got really lucky, I guess, because I wanted to learn how to make more programs, and some of the programs I wanted to make were desktop based programs around weather and around news, because I wanted to be able to make a panel that was just like my little panel inside of like an application that was just like my world inside of the computer. Like
Yeah.
it would aggregate all the different things that was important to me instead of me running a bunch of different applications and crashing the computer, right?
Right.
Because in my mind that was the problem at the time. Like I didn't have hardware that could multitask. That wasn't really a thing with Pentium processors at the time.
Sure.
So um, moved from C sharp into while in C sharp, actually moved from traditional standard desktop applications into using C sharp for SOAP based applications and web services at the time. And at that time, I started to go to high school and transitioned over into C and C++ for FIRST Robotics. FIRST, FIRST, for inspiration of science and technology. Yeah, no, for inspiration. Yeah, something like that. FIRST, inspiration and recognition of science and technology. FIRST. Yeah, FIRST technology, FIRST robotics. And long story short, FIRST is a robotics competition that was founded by Dean Kamen, the dude who created the Segway. And they give you a kit of parts every year and a new game. And they give you like 6 weeks to build a robot before you have to pack it up into a box and ship it somewhere before you don't see it again until you go and actually do a competition.
Nice.
And so like this was exhilarating to me
Yeah.
because you know, every year it was like this new thing. So there wasn't like a legacy aspect to it. It was like something fresh every time. So I started on the electronics team because there was this girl that I liked that was on the electronics
Of
team.
course, man.
And and I was like, yo, I want to do electronics. Because in reality, I thought I was going to do mechanical engineering. I wasn't really thinking about being a software engineer or a hacker. Like I wanted to do mechanical. Like I wanted to like some of my projects in high school were I did biodiesel. I did a solar project, and I did a wind project. And I took an entire part of Southfield High School, my old high school, the old part of it, because they built a entire new school and left the old school there. And with the greenhouse and a science room, I was able to take that entire old part of the school and take it off the grid, right? Me and like two other people. So we were doing really, really fun projects even in high school. And I was able to kind of like take those steps and become the president of my engineering academy in my high school, in my junior year,
That's
and then
insane.
again in my senior year. And so that really kind of set me on the path for like, okay, I want to do electronics. I want to do fun projects. I want to go against the grain. I want to be social and have a reason to be like in leadership. And this whole like electronics thing was really like tying in well to programming. So while in high school, since I'm in Detroit, we had something called IVD, the Innovative Vehicle Design
Okay.
Competition by Square One Network. And the Innovative Vehicle Design Competition was like my funnest thing in the world because I could come up with all of these cool, wild ideas, throw them on the wall, work with other engineers, see the engineering process of how to actually like make decisions on what's even possible or feasible for today's age versus just being like a space age, because we were like 17, 16-year-old kids. So like we're thinking far out in the future, right? So I came up with a touchscreen computer that allowed you to be able to log in with it using a USB drive. And different USB drives had different settings, right? So like keys today. You know how you get into a car today? you press the one and then it like leans your seat back and then like pull your
Right.
steering wheel
Yeah,
forward.
yeah, yeah.
That, but like, just with the key, so like it just knows that it's me now.
Nice.
Also, my dashboard changed, like my colors changed, the mood changed, the LED lighting changed, and it was cool like in concept. But then it was fucking awesome when we actually did it, and
Right.
like it blew people's brains. Like, oh my god, these dudes have a lock on this plastic card that unlocks when I plug this thumb drive. You know, when I get into it, I take the thumb drive and plug it into this touchscreen computer, and like this dashboard pops up and it plays music and it gives me weather and all of that shit because I'd already been doing that for like 5 years. So it was like, sure, like at 17, I can make you a web GUI in C sharp, like I mean a GUI in C sharp that goes, you know, calls in some data, stores it in a local database, and spits it back out to you whenever it gets new internet, like comes and connects.
You know other
So
high
these,
school kids don't do this, right? Like you know that, right? Like
well, not at that time. I think a lot of kids are doing it now,
I
but
I hope so. Man,
I
that's
hope so
crazy.
too. But I think science and technology is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting so excited talking about this because these memories just make me so happy. Like, oh my god. We won the President Award. We won the President's Award our first year competing at this, and we went on to compete a multitude of times. We've done hybrid cars. It's still going on to this day. For FIRST Robotics, we won a few competitions. I'm a part of Team 94, the Techno Jays, in Southfield, Michigan. So, you know, 2-digit team number, which is like we're OGs. Like
Wow.
I think that team in '97 or something like that. If you look at a team number now, it's like 7,000
That's
some
crazy,
odd
bro.
or something like that.
That's insane.
So, but yeah, after having all of that experience in high school and like finding mentors and having friends that have gone on to like go and, you know, go to college and go to like A&M schools and A&T schools and all this stuff. Um, Here comes my turn, right? And I'm graduating. What am I going to do? So I had like this whole other like life that I lived at the exact same time, which was more like aimed at party promotions and aimed at like that line of work. And so I actually had a party promotions company that made me really, really, really good money.
To
And I was
clarify,
in like while I was in high
you're in high school, okay, and you got a
school,
company. All right, cool.
this is my second company. My first company I founded when I was 12 years old. It was a skateboarding company.
Okay.
It didn't really go too far because it's hard to start a skate company at 12, but it taught me
Sure.
something. Like if I can't make money with it in one day, then it's just not worth it, right? And with party promotions, I learned how to make money out of thin air. Like without ever spending a dollar, I was able to make money just from promoting the party, getting people there and selling the tickets. There was a margin there for me. Like I could turn something that I didn't have to buy into profit, right? It grew from that into me having a party promotions company, throwing parties in high school that were for 18 and older people, 21 and older people. And by the time I graduated, I had a party bus. Now I had this party bus for all of maybe 1.5 years total. It was a total pain in my ass. I will not lie, but it made great money. It made great tips, everything. But it was just, I got shot at. There was a lot of
Man,
fights that I had to break up. There was a lot of speakers that got kicked.
I bet.
Right. So this is a completely different like angle outside of the engineering thing. And I thought I was going to run down that angle. Like I have parties right now that have been on World Star Hip Hop, right?
Nice.
Like that have been on Takeout. I could go and show you some stuff. I'm probably in pictures, right? I brought in Trina and Travis Porter and Trey Songz and Gail and oh my God, right? Like I've done a lot of different cool things. But at some point while doing that, since I was about like 16, at about 20, I was done with it. I couldn't take it anymore. Like I didn't even drink on my 21st birthday because I didn't even want to go to clubs or
You're
drink.
just
Like I
over
was
it.
done with that part of
Yeah.
life. So at about 20, I totally decided to kind of take a turn and focus on doing software. I started a software company when I was in high school, but it was mostly just to do websites and stuff like that for parties. Because rappers and models and radio DJs and stuff, they need websites. So that was just easy, low hanging fruit money. $150 here, $300 there, just easy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, I never really thought about it being a software company. Actually, it was a web development company, Infinite Development Solution. Oh, you can't see that. Infinite Development Solutions. I happen to just have a card sitting right here. And that was me. I was Infinite Development, right? Infinite. Look.
Yep.
I have infinity signs all over me. So I'm Infinite. If you can't tell, that's my handle. And that's the reason why people call me Infinite, because they were tired of saying Infinite Development Solutions. If you can't tell, I have an affinity for naming my company things like, enterprise offensive security.
Right.
I feel like that's how you should name a company.
Yeah, I wonder what those guys do.
So yeah, Infinite Development started to shift, and at about 2011, we started to make more startup software in the city of Detroit. There was a big boom. We got our first co-working space. I was an early member. Friends of mine actually co-founded it, and I just started to make as much startup software as possible and took as much equity as I possibly could. Bad idea. I happened to have a restaurant in the city of Detroit because of this, because I have equity. But that's the only thing I really have to show for it, and it doesn't really make me any money, to be honest with you.
Hey, but at least you could say you own a restaurant, man.
A part of it, right? Like I have some equity in the restaurant. But otherwise, it was a terrible idea. But you know what it taught me? The art of the deal. I know I hate to sound like a Trumper, but it did teach me how to do business. It taught me, the ins and outs of contracts and a little bit how to think like a contract lawyer and how to make deals. It taught me how to meet partners and build relationships, and it taught me how to starve, because oh my God, did I starve. There were months that I just did not have food, and I would eat from just different events that were being put on in the city, and like brunches and luncheons and dinners and stuff like that, and leftover foods that were just left in co-working spaces. That would be like my food. Otherwise, I would go and buy a pizza and eat that for 2 days, right? Like I was doing business, like just putting my nose to the ground and doing business. Didn't have a degree, didn't have the credentials to go work anywhere, right? Like I was this party promoter kid who just started to do startup software, and like, who am I? Right? Like I haven't like proven myself. But at some point, I guess after just like being in the space for an extended period of time, I built up enough momentum to start to land bigger customers. I started to get paid better deals, and eventually I landed a really big customer, General Motors.
Wow.
And I started to do software testing, infotainment systems for them, right? Memory testing and testing their infotainment and all of this different type of stuff, right? And that's where I started to do more of my Linux systems administration and DevOps kind of stuff, because I needed to make an infrastructure that was offline that replicated things like, iHeart and, the Weather Channel and all of these other things that I was always integrating with. I now had to replicate offline, like air gap, like offline, like, because this stuff is top secret stuff, right? And so I did that for about 2.5 years. And then at some point, getting really good with systems and, always having an affinity for security and like offering security to my customers by way of Infinite Development Solutions, at some point went to a hackathon to do the hackathon, like, right? And a friend of mine worked at General Electric. I was contracting for General Motors. He was trying to get me to come work for GE, and I said, there's no way. Like, I don't want to even come and work for a big company. Like, I'm good. I'm working for myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're doing your own thing.
There's a capture the flag that they're doing called GE Ghost Hacks. And this is at MHAX in Michigan. And I go and I smash that CTF. Like an hour and a half, like point to prove, right? Yeah. Like there's no way to break this and I'm not going to smash it, right? So he's like, oh, that's for college students. Like, I thought you were going to hack the Mac. I'm like, you think I can't hack the Mac? He's like, I don't know, man. Show me. So I don't know if he had one too many or what, but I hacked the Mac that thing was running on. It was running on a Mac Pro. And all it took was a rubber duck.
Yeah.
That's it, right? That's all it really takes. Physical security is so important because physical access to even a MacBook renders your MacBook useless.
Yep.
Like it's a done game if I can go walk over there and plug up something to it. So I don't think that he realized that I had spy level technology on me.
Yeah.
Wrote up a payload. Boom, got my reverse shell. I got my server out in DigitalOcean. Ports listening. Boom, got my listener running. I run over, plug it in, walk back over to my computer, have a shell,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Holy shit. Right. So I just like LS, I cat some shit out. Like I take a screenshot, I get off the box. I'm like, oh my god, I got two or three of my friends with me. I'm like, that shit. They're like, yeah, bro, that shit was crazy. And then I'm like, oh shit, 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 oh shit. I don't have written permission. That's General Electric. Like they're going to come and like knock on my door, and I'm like packing my bag up, and I'm like shaking. I'm like, oh my god, why the fuck did I do that? And I just like left, right? And I'm at home the next morning. I can't eat. I'm like scared shitless. And I reached out to my bro Paul, and I was like, I hacked that box, by the way. And he was like, oh man, congratulations. Thank God it was you, because it set off all types of alarms, and it came and took that box. There were so many questions asked in forensics, and I was just like, oh, he's like, oh, I'm so happy it's you. I want to escalate this, right? So he lets his boss know. He comes back to me a couple days later. My boss wants to talk to you. No, I don't want to talk to your boss. Your boss is probably like an FBI agent or something.
Right.
Like,
It's a sting.
no.
It's like a setup.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to talk to that dude. Adam Raymer. Adam Raymer was his boss. And I ended up talking to Adam. And Adam is one of us. He is a hacker, a very, very smart one.
That's cool.
And he loved it. He's like, dude, you got balls. Like, please come work on my team. We're part of the public cloud team. You know, we service all of the different GE family of companies. You know, like you'll come here, we'll set you up with some security work to do, yada yada. So I said, fuck it, okay, let's do it. But I got this whole other thing over here running. Can I still have that? They're like, no.
Ooh.
You can't have that. I said, wait. And they're like, well, I mean, you know, you did hack us, so let us know. I'm like, well,
oh man.
Yeah, right.
I kind of like tie your hand.
So what am I going to do with this company? Well, we'll help you with that, right? We'll help you with that. Just, you know, here's some paperwork that kind of lines out exactly what we're going to do. You know, here's what you can disclose. Here's what you can't disclose. Here's how much you're going to make. This is the schedule on the payment, yada, yada, right? All right, fuck it. Sign the papers, all right? I mean, at this point, it was even money for way less work. Yeah. You know how hard you have to work as an entrepreneur to make six figures?
Wait, hold up. Is this your first job? Like, is this your first job?
This is my first corporate job.
Isn't that insane? That's insane, man. You've already done so much in your career, right, up to this point. And now you know, my first job was Arby's, okay? So you're on a different level than me, bro.
Bro, I had to work so fucking hard for my first job. That was crazy. I never even thought about that. Like, wow, that was my first job.
Yeah.
I got my first job in 2017. And I worked there for 8 fucking months before they laid me off because
oh my God.
If you go and look, the stock price went from about $42 down to about, I don't know, $12 a share. If you look at it right now, it's like $7 a share.
Ouch.
So they had to pay me off. And I was like, what about like me selling my whole company? Like, what about this paperwork? Paperwork. And they're like, oh no, we honor paperwork. Don't you worry, Mr. Johnson. So they took care of me. And you know, I went and did some more consulting. I found some more places to go do consulting. And yeah, I worked over at a company called Trility in Iowa. They're a really, really cool company. If anybody ever wants to check them out, Trility.io. They do DevSecOps. DevOps. They're a really, really fun company. I worked on some awesome work with them for about 3 months before I said, hey, you know, I don't really like want to do the contracting thing. I really liked those benefits. Like that shit was awesome. Like I could get my teeth clean and like I could get glasses. Like that shit was awesome, dude. Like I want some more of that, right? Like they were like 401k matching me and all types of stuff. Like I didn't have a 401k before. I just, you know, I was a contractor.
Right.
So so yeah, going into and then the tax thing, right? Like them taking like paying the taxes and like the money that I make is like the money that I make, and me not having to play that game. And so, dude, I would love to just go and make the money at that time. So I went and worked at a company called Dynatrace. Same friend who invited me to hack GE is working over at fucking Dynatrace. He's like, listen, man, you don't have to hack us this time. You can just come to work for us, right? Get the
Nice.
opportunity.
What a homie, dude.
Go,
He's setting you up.
man, y'all. He's oh my god, Paul Erickson. Paul Erickson. He's the homie. He know who he is. Farm boy. I love Paul. That's my bro. Like top notch guy. Very, 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 very close partner of mine. I love Paul. Paul Erickson, man. They call him Eric Paulson because people can't get his name right. Anywho, so went over to Dynatrace, worked there for about a year and a half. Was a red team operator, globally situated company. Agents basically installed on everything. I mean, literally everything. They got agents on boats. They got agents on ATMs. They got agents on American Express.
Nice.
Agents. And so, like, you can see things. And basically, security is a big deal there, just like you would think at SolarWinds, security would be a big deal. And so I
You would
worked
think.
as a red team operator, trying to pick as many locks, trying to open as many doors. I got to travel the world doing this. I mean, from London to Germany, Gdansk, Austria,
Wow.
Boston. I went a lot of different places
And you're doing
while
like
working
red team
there.
engagements when you're traveling?
Yep,
That's awesome.
actually like breaking in stuff. Like I'm traveling with like hacking tools and shit with like a get out of free jail card like
Yeah.
from the CEO. Like, yes, this is person and this is his personally identifiable information and this is me and this is my identification. And in Europe they have like a card that you can apply for that says like I'm a good guy, basically,
Hmm.
right? And there's a way where like if you work in my type of capacity that you can like people to basically just turn the eye like, oh, he's doing it for the greater good, like he isn't like a real criminal, because they're really harsh on that type of stuff in Europe. Like they're not as loose as America is with their cyber. Like it's little different. The theater is a little different over there. It's not as like glamorous or glorified. It's much more strategic and kind of straightforward. But anyway, had some great times over there. Worked with a lot of Marcuses because that seems to be a very popular name there.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I was just like, I'm ready to go and work for myself again. And so I founded Enterprise Offensive Security in 2019, and I really set out to just do offensive security, just pick locks, just do radio, just Wi-Fi engagements and dump databases and that type of stuff. And quickly, what I found was um, I found a group of people that were in despair. I found um, I found an entire industry of people that were underperforming in security, dealing with unhealthy security situations. And what I decided to do was change my mindset and say, okay, offensive is cool, but why offensive? Okay, offensive because you have to be defensive. Okay, meaning if you don't have a defense, I'm going to show you why you need a defense. If
Right.
you do have a defense, I'm going to show you how to strengthen your defense. And so when you think about what it is that I'm doing with the company, I'm helping people. So I said, okay, I'm going to file a DBA. We help you secure. Right. So the company is also named We Help You Secure. If you go to wehelpyousecure.com, you will actually be able to go over to the booking page, the scoping page of Enterprise Offensive Security. And in reality, what I do is I help people secure. I help customers of companies like data forensics, incident response, etc., insurance companies, law firms, people who have had exposures, people who have been breached, and I help them. Sometimes that means ransomware negotiations and decryption. Sometimes that means post breach remediation and putting people back online. Sometimes that means actually going through and doing a vulnerability assessment quarterly or monthly, or doing a basic network scan just for them to be able to have an understanding of what's on their network, what's exposed. Some people don't need full vulnerability assessments. Some people only are supposed to have two ports open, and they don't care. They just let me know if those two ports are still open, right? I don't go into the business of telling my customer what to do. I give them data. I help them, right? So That's basically where I'm at today. Where it's been 2 years now, and a year and a half. Time is flying by.
Yeah.
Last year, I helped a company. Uh, we helped about um, 20 or so customers better their security by way of cloud configuration, benchmark assessments, vulnerability assessments on a cadence, penetration testing, internal, external, web application testing. And the types of things that they find are that they have exposed S3 buckets, that they have old and expired access keys, that they have a bad cookie generation or session fixation, that they have forgot password bugs, cross-site scripting bugs, SQL injection bugs.
Yeah.
Um, I've found, local file inclusion, remote file inclusion. Just there's a like these customers didn't know that this stuff existed, and then when
Right.
you show them and you give them the report, they're like, "How often can I get it?"
Yep.
So just recently, even today, I was just testing the launch of my services in a self-service model, so that people can just go and help themselves. Like,
That's
hey,
awesome.
if you need a basic network scan, let's set you up with a basic network scan. If you need a vulnerability assessment, click these buttons, enter your information. Here's a price. Nobody told you. The website. Here's a transparent
That's
price. When
cool.
you click buy, there's an invoice that goes to your email.
I when
So
I first kind of transitioned out of MSP work into getting into pen testing, I wanted to help MSPs kind of white label their pen testing services, right? I'd be their pen tester behind the scenes. So some of the MSP contacts I had in the community, I'd start talking with them, and I heard that a lot. There were a lot of them were just looking like, I don't know how to scope it, I don't know how to price it, but I don't want to have to call you every time to figure that out. Like I just want to self serve. Like tell me, like punch in the details, tell me what it's going to cost, so I can figure out my markup and all that. So that's cool. That's cool. You're developing that, and there's a need for it for sure.
yeah. It's as a developer, right? Like
Yeah.
I still have ops experience, DevOps experience, so I can stand up my infrastructure in a way in which we can do basic network scanning, right? A very, very easy scan, my own little special sauce of tools. I can have a job that Jenkins actually goes out and run, have different scanning servers, right? Like I have enough of the operation side and like the software side for me to be able to tie all the different tools together to be able to be orchestrated with the ops that's aimed in security. So I always tell people you can be in security without being a penetration tester.
Yeah.
I mean, just so much room. Like if you just take these tools, chain them together, right? Like look at crap map exec. Look at some of these red team tools. They're like a number of small scripts that somebody finally decided to put together and just wrap in one API that just goes, invoke dash.
Right, right. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, think about all the work that goes into Metasploit, right? Like it's the easiest like script kiddie framework out there that, I'm gonna type this in and hit exploit and I got a shell, right? But think about all the behind the scenes work that went into getting that up and running, and
Oh my
maintaining
god.
it. So
Yeah. Have you seen HD Moore's new product?
no.
It's called Rumble,
Okay.
and it is a network discovery tool, and it seems to be really, really good at its job.
Nice. I'll have to check that one out. I'll add that to the list, man. It's an ever growing list, but
Oh, it's basically impossible to keep up with.
it is. So so you got your own stuff going on. You had an amazing journey, amazing path to get there. Um, but you're not done, dude. You didn't stop there because you also you've got more going on. I know you've got a clothing line. What's up with that?
Yeah. So part of that serial entrepreneur thing, I've got a bunch of other things that I've thrown at the wall to see what works and what doesn't work. Clothing has always been something that I don't really have a strong grasp on. I wear a lot of this.
Right.
Oh, this is dope.
I like
So
it.
cool.
I
Oh,
like it.
this is a DEF CON shirt.
Yep.
And like this is like the style and the aesthetic for hackers, right? Like
Yeah.
we like short sleeve shirts. We like to be like comfortable, right? Like I'm extremely comfortable right now. And so I decided to start a company called Red Team Clothing. And it started off back in like around 2018. Um, maybe 2017, 2018, and it was like the first idea was Dirty Cow. I was like, I want to do the dirt. Like that was like the hot thing. I'm like, I could
Right.
make a shirt that's like a cow with like brown patches on it. And
I've seen
so
that.
like I'm terrible at Illustrator, so I'm bending my brain and like mind fucking myself and learning how to like use this whole thing. But I finally made like a dirty cow that like looked cool. So I'm like, well shit, I can make other things. Like this Mirai botnet is going rampant. Let me go and like get a copy of Mirai and see like if I can find anything. And in my exploration, I was able to find a header that when the Mirai server loaded up was like an ASCII art that said Mirai. It looked so menacing. I was like, ooh, that's it. So I took that, put it on a shirt. And then it just started to grow from there. I'm like, WannaCry. So then I took the
There you go.
WannaCry hat and put it on the shirt. And
Yeah.
then it was just like all little things that like at the time people weren't really, it was just so early. Like I won't call it early, but people just weren't really outwardly like it wasn't like hacking was just turning the corner, I
Right.
feel like,
Yeah.
with regard to popularity and acceptance. So didn't really grow, hasn't really grown even to this day. I have new designs like like a guy that's fishing, like a real life. It looks like Ralph Lauren designed it, kind of shirt. Line art took some time. Actually got it designed. Just doesn't really, not yet. It will eventually, but like right now, I think that we're still early enough where hackers just aren't buying fashion. Like we're getting
Sure.
free swag
Sure.
and shirts that we care about from like cons and stuff.
Well,
So I
I
use it.
I don't know, man. If you go to DEF CON and you look at those merch lines, people wait hours for and to spend $50 even on a on a crappy shirt. So I don't know, man. I think
Oh yeah.
hackers
Oh
do.
no, it's not crappy. I love my shirt.
Yeah, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I've got to step my game up. I want to kind of pivot into the merch world. So I'll be hitting you up. We'll have to talk
Hit me up.
about we'll have to
Yeah,
talk about what we do.
I got a whole system laid down. So like if you go to redteamclothing.com, if you see anything that you like, you can go ahead and buy it. I'd love the support. Um, what's really cool about this site is I don't have to do anything, so I've automated it. This kind of goes back to that being a software engineer.
Yeah,
So I've automated the site where my third-party print provider actually prints everything, and that's tied into the shipping provider and the fulfillment provider. So every single step of the way, you're up to date. You're up to date. You get a tracking number. You can track it all the way to your door. When you get it, like it's already like packed individually with a packing, slip, and everything is like end to end professional.
yeah,
So it just comes to just creating the designs, and I don't even have to touch any of it. I make a lot less money than I would if I was in here like printing my own
sure,
shirts.
sure.
But in reality, like if tonight 100 people go and buy, then it works for me,
Yeah,
right? So I rather set up to scale versus you know, not be able to fulfill.
for sure. Yeah, the beauty of drop shipping too, because it can almost be like a passive income thing once you've got it up and running, right? And then it's just a side thing
Mm-hmm.
to talk about, like what we're doing. But that's cool.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah, man. So if you need any help, don't hesitate. Like I love to help people. That's my big thing. I love to help. Like I teach also. I teach at university. I think I snuck that in there at some point. Um, but yeah, I love love helping people. I'm a director at a nonprofit, MySec. Stands for Michigan Security. I founded the local DEF CON group here in Detroit, DC 313. We're gonna have a meet next week, so please come if you have time. I know you work East Coast hours, so I'd love to see you there, or maybe have you speak even because I don't have a speaker yet.
That'd be cool.
Um, yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see if anybody wants to join dc313.org.
I'm gonna go check it
And then
out.
for MySec, it's misec.us for MySec. And yeah,
Let's drop that in the chat too. I'll drop that in to make it easy for you guys to come check this stuff out. We gotta support these guys. We gotta support content creators, and definitely gotta support Xavier. He's got so much going on, man. Like his your story is really inspiring to me. Even someone who's already like working and stuff. So I can only imagine. You know, I I know that you like to help, and obviously you're creating these groups and stuff. You've got some speaking going on. There's one
okay.
There's one speaking event in particular I want to ask you about here in a sec because we've got someone in the chat here who's also going to be speaking at that same event. Uh, but but no, like, do you ever like speak to try to inspire kids to get into this? Do you think that that's something that you mentioned earlier that more and more people, like more kids in high school, are doing more crazy stuff, like what you were doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm actually a board member at a local high school that focuses on technology and cybersecurity. Haven't done any specific. You know what? This summer I spoke to one group of kids about non-traditional versus traditional paths. And I was the one who showed up in the t-shirt, and like the other people were like in business suits and stuff. It was cute. I was like, oh man, like I love this because like now I can explain to them like you don't have to dress up like this to make money.
Yeah.
Um, because kids they don't know. They're like, oh, do I have to wear a suit every day to get paid? Like,
Well,
no,
you always hear,
don't.
like,
You
dress
just
for the job that you want. You have to wear a suit.
be passionate. You know what I'm saying? You could
Yep.
just carry your passion. Wear that. Anyway, um, so not specifically for getting kids in cyber, and I'd love to. If anybody out there has any opportunities for me to speak specifically to high school kids around ethics of hacking, I really want to do an ethics talk for kids. I think that people often glaze over the fact that that is drilled into us at a young age as hackers. If we start off on the wrong foot, we typically end up in the bad place
Yep.
at that time.
Yep.
Whereas if like we're drilling ethics into our culture, then hacking, never turns to cracking.
Yep.
It always remains positive and an outlet. So anybody out there, even you, if you know somebody who needs a speaker, I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, no, I wanna get more involved with that too, actually, because I had this idea that I published this week. I don't know if you've seen it at all, but it was like it's an interactive pin test game. Have you seen that at all floating around on Twitter or whatever? Um,
Oh, no.
basically, I took Legacy from Hack the Box, and instead of just the typical write up walkthrough 30-minute video you'd watch, I made it a game. So you watched a minute and a half. You see me starting the mmap scan. I talk through the results. I say like, okay, we've got RDP, SMB open. What do we do next? And then the viewer chooses, all right, I want to enumerate SMB, I want to enumerate RDP, or I want to start a UDP scan. And they pick on the end screen, and it takes them to a new video based on their option. And they go through, and they do their
Mm,
thing, and they pick it through. And I feel like it's potential to get like newcomers more engaged in it, because it feels like a
mhm.
game. I could see kids getting involved with stuff like that. Um,
Oh yeah, for sure. When you gamify things, like that's really cool. That's really cool.
yeah, I've gotten some cool feedback about it, so I'm definitely gonna be doing more of those, making more advanced and stuff for sure. I know Davin's got some stuff going on. I think with another thing related to gaming. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil his secret because it's related to his talk that he's doing next month. So tell me about yours. You got a talk coming up, right?
Yes, I do. Let me think. Which talk? You're talking about blacks in cyber,
Yes,
right?
sir.
I got
Yep.
a talk. So I have something next Thursday about supply chain attacks. Then I have something on Friday, which I'm not even sure of the subject matter. I think that might just be a fireside chat next Friday. So I have Thursday and Friday. Thursday is with Blue Mirror. If you want to check that out, you can go to my LinkedIn, and I've been promoting it and stuff like that. Um, and then I have the Blacks in Cyber, which is the 6th of February. And that is going to be around um, securing your software development lifecycle. So, kind of DevSecOps and kind of attacking developers and how attackers attack developers and what the outcome is. And I'm probably going to end up tying that back into the recent events that we saw um, with SolarWinds, right, and FireEye and Microsoft and a number of other things when you look at what supply chain is. And then I'm going to go into some more novel attacks, all the way back to some things that we saw with Amazon, some other supply chain attacks, types of things like false bottoms and boxes, data that's been walked out of places, just really, really making people aware of how real supply chain attacks are, how prevalent they are,
Yeah.
and how they actually affect them, all the way down to business compromise and people actually stealing money from accounting by way of business email compromise, etc. We consider that supply chain as well. So attacking anything that's in between the consumer and the money going into the account is considered supply chain. And so we're going to focus on the development life cycle for that talk specifically. But really, right now, the big theme of talks that I'm giving is around DevSecOps and securing operations, SecOps mostly. So, in between SDLC, between like typical supply chain, all the way to my last talk of February, which will be on the 26th, I believe, will be about securing your cloud environments as a developer, right? Like development hygiene in cloud environments. So really just aiming to help better arm our developers, people like us, people who like to create and are expressive using code, better arm them with what the moving MO, right? I won't call it MO, but what the operandus is becoming for cyber threat, right? It's starting to get a little. They're starting to change on us. So we want to try and help developers understand the importance of supply chain and how in a software as a service world they are the most critical component of that supply chain.
Yeah.
It's not
For
about
sure.
poisoning the milk. It's not about bad ammo. It's not about any of those things that were, of the past that you would think about as a supply chain, right? Like, or poisoning, a food supply. It's not that anymore. Like it's as
Yeah.
easy as just compromising an email account and then like covert actions from there,
Yep.
phishing from that user to another user, and then taking that access. Maybe that person's a domain admin, and we know what we can do with one local administrator who has domain admin administrative access, right? So
A user account would never be a real user account would never be domain admin. Come on. Come on. Users don't
okay.
sign any domain admin. I wish that I could say that honestly, you know.
Oh my god, the amount of that I see.
I know.
Uh,
I know it's brutal, you
it's,
know. But
wow.
the supply chain, when I worked at the MSP, one of the things that we were always worried about was like if our RMM, the tool we install as an agent on every machine, if that got compromised, you know, like just imagine that's a one-click PowerShell execute to completely take over our entire client base, you know. So
And,
it was a nightmare. I mean, I'm sure it still is for MSP owners and anybody
yeah,
who works in that type of industry.
and even then, like, how safe are you? Like, can I spawn that process, take that process ID, and then assume that process using that? Like,
Yeah.
like, can I spawn another process that's privileged using that process ID? Like, you have to really, really be careful with having privileged agents on your host, and that was one of the things that I was trying to get through to Dynatrace, because that is a very real threat for people that are running systems like that have root level access on systems.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
Dynatrace and SolarWinds are the exact same kind of company with the same level of access.
Yep.
So it's scary, and that's why I said I want to help people, because you see what the potential is for carnage when security does not get taken serious.
Is that what the inspiration of the talks are? Like, do you when you sit down and you're thinking like, okay, I wanna speak at an event, like why? What is the reason why you even would take the time and effort into doing that?
Correct. What I do is I find topics that are naturally interesting to me. If I could get one of my crazy Aussie friends on the phone right now, he'd tell you it's top of the morning for him. He'd tell you,
Right.
yeah, man. When I met him, the first thing he did was show me a way that Amazon could get hacked using supply chain. Like, and he works as the top security person at Amazon. Right? His name
Nice.
is Ben Potter. I just love supply chain. I love, love, love it. And to the point where I met a guy named Brendan I can't think of his last name right now, but Brendan, I met him at Toledo B-Sides, and he gave a talk about assume breach. And assume breach is very much to the tune of a defense for a supply chain type of attack. And so I just always had that natural affinity to it because I'm like, man, what happens if I follow you home and just like hack your like refrigerator, or like what if I put a false bottom into like one of your boxes? Like what if I like today there was a delivery that came to my house that just had G Johnson and the address but no unit number, and it came to my house, and I'm like, I don't even want to fucking open this box. Like this thing probably has Verizon in it or something. Like I don't want to. Like it's just gonna be a poof of smoke, and then that's it for Xavier. He got like some rare and exotic cancer.
You know,
I like scanned the wrong network.
I think that's one thing that sucks about working in this industry is we live with so much paranoia. Like regular people, they just are so blindly trusting. It must be so nice to to live in that type of bliss because yeah, I
Yeah,
can't. I have to like double triple check everything. It's like, is this what it claims
yeah,
to be? I don't think so. So
yeah. It's anyway supply chain, man. So what I do is I come up with a theme, and then I apply to speak at places, kind of based on that theme. That way, I can do one large bunch of research, and then I can make a few different pieces that are directed, that are really really tightly scoped, and then I just pray to God that they get picked up. And I get turned down all the time, all the time. Like there's talks that go like there's research that I've done for stuff that I wanted to speak about that I wasn't able to speak about, specifically like my DEF CON talk. Some of this work that I'm doing right now with the ATEM and Discord and different video codecs. Um, that's just the nature of the game. But now that like I'm full time entrepreneur, like these speaking engagements are like really, really, really imperative
yeah,
for the success and longevity of the company because uh, without them, people just aren't aware of the things that I'm doing, who I am, why I'm trying to even work with them. You know, people don't really buy product; they buy people.
yeah.
So like when they meet me and they're like, "Okay, you're really going to help me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really going to help you. Like I'm going to literally sit down with you and go over this and act like I'm your CISO and like put my heart on my sleeve with you." And that's the reason why I founded the company so that I could do that with you, right? So yeah,
Well, cool, man. I love it. I'm loving your whole story. So, we're coming close here to a full hour. I don't know if anyone actually dropped questions in the chat. They have been talkative, giving you some compliments and stuff.
I feel like I just rambled about myself.
Hey, man, that's what this is all about, And I appreciate it because it gave me a chance to learn more about you, hear your story, And like I said, it's inspiring. What you do is inspiring, and hopefully other people in the chat agree. Um,
Well,
so
thank you, man. I appreciate you, Infinite.
I swear I didn't steal it from you, man. I promise. I swear. That
I
wasn't
know
the
you didn't,
intention,
man.
at least. But yeah, man. Do you have
I
any?
it was like a natural affinity. I'm like, man, infinite logins, infinite like this works for me. Like, like immediately. What games are you playing? I see you got a rig over there.
Oh, dude, I don't game much. I don't game much anymore. I used to when I was younger. I used to play a lot of Halo. I was big into
Oh,
like competitive. OG MLG days. Competitive Halo is what I used to do. Um, but yeah, this is because it looks cool. I like stuff that looks cool. Flashy lights and whatever. And then for
yeah.
VMs, home labs.
Oh
That's
yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
that's why I built the computer. But yeah,
Have you got to crack any hashes with it?
I have, and I love it for that.
Ooh,
I made the mistake of plugging it
nah.
into a UPS, and then I started Hashcat up, and the UPS couldn't handle the power that it was trying to draw, and so it killed it, and I had to deal with it. I was like, okay, well, that sucks. But no, yeah, it's really nice being able to crack some hashes a little bit quicker.
What kind of car do you have?
It's just a GTX. It's not. It's an older one. I don't even remember what it was. I bought it used off some dude. I can check it out here, but
No worries.
but yeah, dude, like
I haven't cracked any hashes with my rig yet, and I really want to. We should link offline and just practice some shit.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I wanna build. I see some people with like crazy rigs. I want to know what Ipsek's got in his, because he talks about it in his videos. He's like, he calls it like the Kraken or whatever, and he cracks hashes like in a second, like every time. So yeah, I wanna check out, or I want to know if like what he built, and build my own Kraken rig one day. That'd be cool. But
Dude, so what? Like, you could probably do an X299 board. It'll have three three. It'll have the capability to do 3 GPUs and SLI, and
yep,
then you could probably do like a i9 109080X. Oh my god, 980X. So a 10980X Cascade Lake card, which is like insane. I think it's like 10 cores on an i9,
that's
and
insane.
like with 3 GPUs, done. 3080 Ti's for the win. Oh man, you just have like a cooling problem, like none other. It'd have to be like a one of those like non-case. What do they call them? Open air rigs.
Nice, dude. Yeah, see, you're like super. You've always been super into the hardware stuff, like you were talking about, right? Like you wanted to.
I love hardware.
Yeah, yeah. Hardware is not my thing. Like I've never had an affinity for the hardware. So, but
Yeah,
building a Kraken rig
that's what
one
I'm.
day.
That's why we make teams.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Well, cool, man. I appreciate you hopping on and chatting.
I would say thank you, like from the bottom of my heart, for having me onto your platform. I don't think anyone has like shared their platform with me. I know DJax has actually asked me to be on his. I need to
Nice.
follow up with him, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, I do appreciate you and him as well for extending your platforms to me and always being supportive.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is a new thing. Like I haven't been doing stuff for long, and so I appreciate you wanting to come out and chat. Like that's huge for me. And then Davin, yeah, DJX, he's got an awesome show. I hope that you hop on that show sometime. I'll definitely
I
check it
will.
out. Yeah. Well, cool, man. And who knows, if we ever have like some projects and stuff, we can collab, maybe even produce some content together, more like formal videos and stuff. That'd be cool.
I think we should crack some hashes. We should do some CME content.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. We'll make some
All right,
plans.
bet.
All right.
Let's do it.
Well, thank you everybody for checking out the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here, and yeah, if anybody ever wants to reach out to you, what's the best way, Xavier? What's the best way for them to get in contact?
If you want to reach me personally, you can get with me on Twitter at infinite INFENET. You can go to my Instagram, which is Xavier underscore Johnson, XAVIER underscore JOHNSON. And if you want to book me, if you want to have a scoping call, go to wehelpyousecure.com, and also check out dc313.org. You can buy clothes at redteamclothing.com. That's it.
Bam, bam. That's it. That's it. I've got a couple. I've got a couple links in the description. Actually, before we go, Alpha Cybersecurity, good old Djax. He asked, "What legal things do you have to do in order to start a cybersecurity consultancy?" That's actually
Oh
a
yeah.
good question.
Legal things. So I say insurance is a big thing, and it's going to be harder than people make it out to be. Um, I got denied for insurance 4 different times. The fifth time, well, it wasn't even the fifth time that I applied. Actually, I don't remember how it worked out, but I ended up getting because basically they have brokers, so they'll try and like shop you around. But I end up having a connection to a company that is called the Hartford, and the Hartford end up giving me a pretty good business insurance package, because most of them won't deal in ethical hacking. So that'll be your number one thing that's hard for you, right? And if you need to do government contracts, it all starts to even change even harder, right? So there's that. And then for your contractors, so basically you're going to have you're going to want to have a solid lawyer. I have 2 lawyers, one that's contract law, one that's more of a like a litigation kind of lawyer, like if we had to go to court. so we don't really deal with him too much. But the contract lawyer helps me with all of the different contracts, right? So that's business to vendor, business to contractor, because people have different types of relationships that they like to line up with you. So having somebody that's strong in that area to understand exactly what you're signing yourself up for, and how to kind of cover your ass is really important. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot of red tape around this. It's typical consulting. So as long as you are, so me, I have a statement of work that is a legally binding contract, right? That actually defines exactly what the scope is explicitly, um, lays out exactly, what IP addresses, domains are in scope, explicitly lays out what is not in scope, for things that we cannot do, explicitly lays out the start date and the end time at which we expect payment, the types of ways that we can be paid. Like I'm talking about, I could give you this document and I wouldn't have to sell to you. Like it's going to know every single thing. Like there's not a question you can ask that's not answered in my statement of work. Is like typical statement of work's like 20 pages long. So getting a really, really good statement of work is fucking important. And if you need one, I can hook you up, even though it costs me money to get mine. Davin, if you need one, hit me up. I can get you a good statement of work. I'll show you exactly how the template works. I have a deliverables section. I have a services section. I have an approach section. And then each one of my services that I do, I have a blurb written out. And then I put together my statement of work and I go through and do a find and replace. So that way, I'm always covered in the event of any kind of legal event. Like, hey, you told me to be here. This is the dates and times. These are the IPs that I've touched. Here's the IPs that I've come from. Here's my payment schedule, X, Y, and Z. And that typically keeps me out of trouble. I haven't gotten sued yet. That's still on the table. So,
Knock on some wood
but
here.
yeah, we're pretty light touch. We do pretty good work. We've never brought down a system. We've never had customers complain. The only complaints that we've ever had is just slow reporting. Sometimes we're slow on the reporting. I mean, that's just every company has something, right? Like we don't really have a lot of other operational issues. We're working on our reporting. It's going to take a little bit more of have better networks. Give me less findings. How about that?
Yeah, the report would be much quicker. That's not your fault.
Anyway.
Well, cool, dude. That was an awesome question. You had some awesome answers. I appreciate that. Helps me too, because I'm gonna have to go down the road of finding good insurance, finding a good contract lawyer. So I might even ask for some contact information here offline. So
I got a couple books for you. I
cool.
think Debo has says it's not the most illuminating question, but what is the fantastic blinking lights unit behind you, Xavier? That is so the blink. I don't know which blinking at what time, but the blinking ones is my switch. So that's a Unify. Let me see, can I put it in focus? That's a Unify switch back there, and it's a 24 port switch. Um, Power over Ethernet is pretty cool. And then in that, I have a cloud key, and then underneath that, right there, I have a 2U server that has 12 bays. It's got about 46 terabytes worth of drives in it. And then I got another 2U Dell R790 or R720, one of those two. Yeah, R720. And then right here, I don't know if my contrast is too dark, but that's my firewall right there. That runs pfSense. And then that for you right there is the computer that I'm on right now, actually.
Interesting. Nice. What's the top one? Is that the? I thought it was maybe the Dream Machine. Is that what that is? Dream Machine Pro.
No, so the very, very top one it's not even connected actually. That is a USG,
Oh,
and
okay.
then the one that's right underneath that is the Unify switch. So my Unify security gateway only does up to 250 megabytes per second of IPS IDS, and my the NIC that's inside of my PF Sense box can do gigabit full inspection. So
Wow.
I had to have it because I got a gigabit line. So
Nice. Is that just a limitation of all the USGs, or?
yes, when you turn on Their IDS and IPS, it automatically goes down to 250 megabits per second.
Gotcha. Cool. Because I've been I was gonna try to get my hands on a Dream Machine Pro. I want to set up a whole rack mounted situation like you've got going on. I'm slowly gonna upgrade
Go
my.
for it.
I'm gonna upgrade my gear eventually. I've gotta have a reason. I don't really have a reason to get a rack mount if I've just got
Dude,
one piece of equipment.
this is what you do. This is what you do. That right there that you got on your desk,
Yeah.
throw it in a rack.
Yeah.
Get a 24U rack. Get a switch that's like that. Put it in there. Then put that right underneath it.
There we go. There we go. 2 items.
Right, and then you start from there. So like I had this Dell right here, that Dell R720.
Yeah.
I had that sitting on a plastic table for I don't know a year. Right, and then I moved here, and then I got this 4-post rack before I moved any of my furniture in, and I set it up and I put that in, and then I already had these two. Actually, I had the security gateway and the switch. Those were both sitting on the table along with that. So I ended up getting a rack, and then I put my computer that used to be a tower like that into a rack mounted case, and that I was off to the races at that point, like because like I just like rack mounted computers now. So
yeah,
when you build something, just it's the same exact thing. You just put it in a rack mounted computer. It'll really clean up a lot of you get some of your room back.
Free up some desk space for sure. This thing takes up like half my desk, so
it's like blowing hot air at you.
Right, and the dust that it generates, man. But we got a question about the DEF CON banner. I don't know if he's asking you or me. I bought mine off eBay because I couldn't go anywhere on site. Obviously, I couldn't like go to DEF CON this year. I've got the 2020 edition with the mask, so that was kind of cool. Do you have a crazy story on how you got yours?
Crazy story on how I got mine. I went to DEF CON. I don't remember when I got that flag. I might have got it a year before last or a year before that. I don't remember. It just starts to blend. Crazy story about those lines. If you are rambunctious, which a lot of hackers are not, and I really, really am, especially early in the morning when that swag line opens, I'm like ready to go. And some people are just like hungover and like stuck. And I do like line cons. So I like to go like get in the line at like 3:00 in the morning, give out beers, blow up beach balls. And, like we like party. Like we party all night in the line. Right? It's awesome. Line con is fucking awesome. And that's how I met a lot of friends. I got a lot of homies. Yo, if you looking at this and you met me in line con, what up, though? I got you drunk, period. So yeah, basically, if you're really rambunctious like me, you'll make friends with goons. I end up getting a goon coin because I answered a question that nobody else was answering. I got a goon coin. This line is moving super slow. We're like at the front of the line, and it's like once you get to the front of the DEF CON swag line, like, it goes to shit. Yeah. Like it just doesn't work out anymore, right? So then I'm looking at a goon. I'm like, can I trade you this goon coin just to get my stuff? And he's like, you're gonna trade me a goon coin just to get your stuff? I'm like, listen, man, I want to miss talks. Like while I want this goon talk, goon coin, I really want to see my talks. He's like, okay, give me your goon coin. So I gave it to him. And the dude did like some fucking magic trick and like put it back in my hand. And he's like, hold on to that. And I'm like, okay. And then like he fucking puts me in line and he's like, this guy right here. And then like I ordered my shit. And then like, oh, that was that time actually. Because my boy Ali was behind me. He was like, yo, get me X, Y, and Z. And I was like, I got you. And I just bought it for him. And he like paid, I don't even know if he ever paid me for that shit. And I got him a flag too. So if you're really rambunctious, and you're willing to try and social engineer your way into situations after being rambunctious, you might get really fucking lucky, right place, right time, and be able to get swag. Because I'll tell you what, it is hard to get swag there. It'll be 6:30 in the morning. It's really, really hard to get swag there.
Yeah, and it gets sold out quick. And I was watching a stream that Nahamsek was doing. I don't remember if he was talking about himself or a guest that was sharing the story, but basically they stole their DEF CON flag that they had, and it was like this huge thing where like they were like running and they were worried they were gonna get busted, but they're like, if you make it out with the DEF CON flag, it's free game, like they're not gonna even be mad.
There's a lot of people who are like influencers that would just take DEF CON swag home and people won't care. Like Jason Street literally walked into the Radio Village and grabbed a fucking DEF CON folding chair and just walked out with it. Yeah. And like when someone else tried to, they were like, no, what are you doing? That's for the room. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know, but yeah, like that's totally a thing.
Yeah, that's when you know you made it, when you're able to do stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna
But all right,
wrap it up here,
take,
but
I've taken too much of your time.
no, not at all, man. But I appreciate you coming on, and we'll definitely be in touch. Thank you, chat, for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys in the next stream.
Thank you all.